That's not new.
I think our time's up.
Sarah, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Troy, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Just a quick note. Apologies, I'm home with a sick little one and I'm going to have to jump off early to take him to the doctor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can we start with roll call? Is everybody here?
Barry Young.
Bill Palmer,
Katie Souls.
Parks Thompson.
Tiffany Gatesman.
Steve Fitzgerald. Nick Crab.
Can I get a motion to approve the amended minutes from the last meeting?
I'm gonna approve, how about the agenda first? Just the regular agenda and then the consent agenda?
That's fine. We can
Yeah.
do that first.
Okay. I move to approve the agenda for today, December 9th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can we approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Now we need to approve this, the amended minutes from the last meeting, because there's other people there.
Agenda.
So that,
Consent agenda.
yeah, I think that's built in.
Okay, so
consent
this is
agenda.
in the consent agenda from the last meeting.
Oh, that's
Got it.
okay. 'cause you got
Minutes
that.
from November 11th. Cool. All right, so we have an open forum. Is anybody here for the open forum? No. Abby just showed up. Could you say your name for roll call, please?
B. Samuelson.
Okay. And now we have discussion possible action with TIFs with Troy Bernberg.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to be with you all. Hope you're getting some decent snow these days. I've got three documents or worksheets to share with you, and I'm probably not going to share them in the order in which they were presented on the agenda. So apologies for that. I did not specify an order to Sarah when I shared them. So that's on me. The document that is called Revs by Type, I think is where I'd like to start because this is more of an illustration, right? So I wanted to show you all the rough order of magnitude that a commercial development versus compared to a residential development, what that looks like in terms of TIF dollars to the DDA. And this is really just to give you guys kind of scope, right? We've talked about how new construction primarily is the driver for increasing incremental assessed valuation. And at the top of this particular worksheet, I provide some examples of property values that I've seen kind of in the valley and in the area, in the county. The second kind of colored line is the assessment ratios.
Are you sharing the sheet somewhere or are we supposed to?
Oh,
be
sure,
looking
I
at it?
can. I'm sorry. I
think
thought
that's
you all had
appropriate.
this in front of you. My
Yeah,
apologies.
some do, some don't.
Okay,
Thank you.
of course.
Oh,
Okay.
that way we know we're on the same page.
Yeah. Okay. Can you guys see this?
Yeah,
Mhm.
great.
All right,
thank you.
excellent. So here are some of the values I found in the valley for apartments in town, at least townhomes I got from recent builds in the county. Apartments are a rough order of magnitude that I use and that are a pretty common range. So let's say you have a 50 apartment building, a 50 unit apartment building. I typically use 365 to 475 per unit to determine the valuation of the project once it's constructed. The commercial properties is more of an anecdotal observational range of 500,000 to $1 million. The second line in kind of turquoise or dark turquoise is your assessment ratios. This is important for you all to know because assessment ratios have come down as a result of recent state legislation. 6.25 is the new residential assessment ratio. Sometimes it can go as low as 6.15, depending on the growth in the particular jurisdiction. And then I give you the assessed or taxable values. Okay. So we take the market or actual values, we multiply that by the assessment ratios, and we get, oh, and I look at that. I messed up. This should say assessed, and I thought I corrected this. My apologies. This should say assessed ratios right here for this block. Okay. So these are the lower numbers. These are the numbers that the property taxes actually get applied to, okay? And then here on the bottom part is an illustration of calculation. I wanted to use the same project amount so you guys can see the difference in what is generated. This is the last overlapping mill levy that I have for the DDA as of last year. Mill levies are getting finalized right now, so I'll have an updated number here in the next couple of days. Actually, they're due tomorrow. And so, yeah, with $1 million project, new construction, roughly a 60 mil overlapping mill, you guys see kind of the revenue that would be annual revenue that would be generated from that project. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So this is just examples so you guys can understand how the math works. Here are the assumptions, okay? So this part was provided to me kindly by Sarah, or excuse me, this part, okay, where I've got addresses, parcel numbers, stage of project, and I'm looking at 2 projects, Centrum Phase 1 and Strom. Here are estimated actual values for the units. I'm probably a little conservative on the Centrum, and I used this figure as an average of 3 of the units that are currently on the market. Okay. And then what I do is I determine the total assessed valuation. Okay. And then this block tells you when it's coming online. Okay. So we have to get through construction. We have to get to CO and then to certificate of occupancy. And then depending on when that occurs, the project will go on the rolls the following year. So we expect Strom to be completely on the rolls next year. Okay, so we got 52,790 of assessed valuation from roughly 25% of Strom being complete this year. So I'm assuming the rest will come on next year. Okay. So that's what these numbers are right here. Okay. And then each of them has small commercial assessment ratios. I'm using a very conservative $250 per square foot. Okay. And then total assessed value. And then when does that value hit the rolls? Okay. And then I come to my last worksheet, which is a multiple page one with a pretty chart. And this shows your assessed value from beginning. Okay. And right here, here's your new construction. Here is the incremental evaluation based on your 2 reports. Here's the increment revenue on a top line or gross basis. And then here's the county collection fee at 5% of gross property tax revenues. And here's your net increment. Okay. So, around 40,127 for 26. So I have certification year up here and then collection year. Okay. So I will be getting the final report from the assessor. That's due tomorrow. And then what I've done here are the total revenues, total gross revenues over, it's actually 27 years, not 30, but you have a total 30-year period. What's the present value of those revenues? And then what are the revenue averages from years 1 through 10, 2 through, 11 through the second 10 years, and then the third 10 years. So this chart is a visualization, excuse me, of your base up here. This row, okay, this is your base, and then a visualization of your incremental valuation, okay? So we want the orange part to grow as much as possible, because once you kind of lock in your increment, it kind of stays with you, right? Unless there's a significant series of demolitions that would cut into our incremental valuation. So if you can remember, here's your, this is something I did not share, but I've shared in the past. This is your 9-step calculation for assessed value. So that's where I've gotten kind of the historical stuff right here for these two columns. And then I used the August report here. And then this is where I do more of my projections. So here you see the new construction coming online, and this feeds right into your incremental assessed value. So you see how it goes from 611 to 1 million, over 1 million. So that's where you're seeing that jump, okay?
And Troy, could I just
Yes.
ask a question while
Please.
you're on that point, please? It looks to me that on line 7, you have the documentation for the new construction that is underway.
Yeah.
But starting on column J, 2029, 2030, that's blank again. And am I interpreting that correctly to simply assume that you haven't made any additional assumptions for new construction beyond that point? In other words,
Correct.
yeah, okay. Now, I think we all understand that that's
Thank you.
likely, right? That
Yeah.
there's probably going to be more.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. I wanted to be conservative. As I've shared with Sarah and you all in the past, you know, I'd like to have some degree of the project being in line, so to speak, for entitlement and approval, just because that gives me more certainty that it will occur. So ultimately, I say that to say that I can add as much kind of future development as we want. You know, typically what I need is square feet. So if you all know of a project that's coming online and you've got kind of a rough estimate of what it would be, is it commercial versus residential? What's the type and square footage? I can continue to add to this particular worksheet. And yeah, as Steve pointed out, just add into this light gray line here. And yes, I recognize, and I've told Sarah that you guys have the good fortune of still being very attractive for new development. There's still a lot of activity, whereas just on the other side of the mountain from you guys out east, we are starting to see things slow down a little bit. So that's why I always like to start from a place of kind of conservativeness, being conservative. So, but yes, ultimately what this model can do is continue to add. So you guys get an updated picture of what it looks like going forward.
And I'll just interject, as I was talking to Troy about this, he very much wanted to stick with what we knew was happening. But that's where we also came up with that revenue by type that he started with. So we can say, well, if another 10,000 square feet of commercial comes online, we can add this amount. So we can play with different scenarios and build out what that might look like based on what we think is happening, but kind of have a manner of separating what is pretty definitely happening. I mean, projects can always fall through at the last minute, but what people at least have in motion, and then add on to that number based on his worksheet here.
Right.
How
And
does
thank you.
St. Louis Landing fit in this? Oh, is it?
So St. Louis Landing, as a town-owned or Fraser Housing Authority-owned project for affordable community housing, we are not getting much revenue there. As a future stage of the project, because it's tax exempt, as a future stage of the project, there are supposed to be townhomes that are for sale. So then we would get some of that residential value. As Troy's pointed out, you get a lot less from residential than you do from commercial properties, but we would see some there, and we are hoping to have those for sale products in, I don't know, I would say the 3 to 5 year range, but that really is to be determined because we're focused on phase one, which is rentals right now, and there's just so much uncertainty around a number of factors. When we added St. Louis Landing into the boundaries, when the DDA was formed, we did this knowing that we were not likely to get much increment from St. Louis Landing, but we wanted the ability, if the DDA chose to help fund kind of affordable housing, to be able to spend money within St. Louis Landing, if that makes sense. But knowing that that's not really where we were looking for the revenues to come from.
And what I can do, I think I've only shared with Sarah kind of static printout versions of this worksheet, but it has been my intent to provide this worksheet as an Excel file so that even Sarah can put in for commercial these blue numbers. You can change these blue numbers only, and it will calculate, right? So if we have a $5 million project, commercial project, that would be the revenue, right? So yeah, Sarah will be able to kind of on the fly do some rough order of magnitude math to see what a project would bring on. So hopefully that's a helpful reference tool going forward.
And I'll add too, for those of you, I mean, Greg, you're obviously very involved in the development to come. If some of these numbers seem off or you have additional information, please feel free to share it with Troy and I, and we can use that to continue to refine these numbers with the most accurate actual, market information out there. Right.
Yeah, if Troy's going to share the Excel, I can input kind of more accurate numbers for our stuff, but Strom was relatively accurate.
Okay. Yeah, and you're kind of talking about the Centrum. I know I'm probably low there. So yeah, for me, I wanted to set up the model so that it's a tool for you all. So yeah, my feelings aren't hurt if I get updated numbers or numbers that you feel I might be too low or conservative on. So happy to continue to input those.
No, this is great. Thanks for doing that.
Of course.
Yeah, I got to add, because I was one who's keen to see this type of thing. I think this is extremely useful. Well done.
Yeah, good job.
Thanks. Yeah, I could make it a lot more complicated like my peers do, but for me, I think simple is mostly best. And yeah, I'll share this worksheet with Sarah, and you guys can use it as a tool. You can see my calculations can get a bit more technical and involved, but for me, that's not as easier to kind of show than something like this that I think is a lot more digestible.
Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome.
Cool. Do we want to move on to the Fraser Center for the Creative Arts proposal? Is Steve here?
Indeed. And Sarah,
Troy, are you done?
Yeah, thank you. I will just share real quick as an update, since I don't think I'll be on at the end of the meeting, and it does relate to increment. The town of Fraser is under contract to purchase the vet building that's across from the Amtrak station. This kind of came about as there were issues with Amtrak being able to complete the ADA improvements that they wanted to complete in their current building, and also wanting to have a transit center that could be used by Bustang and Lyft passengers, and those passengers currently didn't have access to the Amtrak station. So the town, there's a lot to be determined, but I think it's a pretty exciting purchase. The idea is that it would be a transit center, but that there would be space on the property for some redevelopment around it. I don't know if the town will hold on to the property long term, or if it potentially would be sold with certain kind of restrictions around the vision for that property to a developer at some point in the future. But the primary focus is on a transit center. Potentially, we could look at a parking lot in that area. We'd need a little bit more space, or some other types of development around that building. That might be a bit of the way off. I think the town is probably not buying too much more in the way of property. One of the unfortunate aspects is that does mean that those properties go from taxable to tax exempt. So it's not an ideal immediate scenario for the DDA. But I think long term, it's a great opportunity for kind of just redevelopment and really focusing on that area around the train station as hopefully passenger rail increases, as well as Bustang and other forms of multimodal transit for Fraser and the Valley. Some more information on that to come as we kind of figure out, but I think there might be some ripe opportunities there for the DDA moving into 2026 and beyond.
Awesome.
And with that, yes, very exciting, but still a lot to figure out. And I do just want to make sure we state that Steve Fitzgerald will be speaking as I don't want to mess up your title, Steve. Are you the executive director of the Fraser Valley Arts?
President, but it doesn't matter. And I was going to cover that.
President. Okay, great. Yeah.
Yep. So to Sarah's point, I'm stepping aside from my role here on the DDA, and I will recuse myself from the decision making on this, because what I'm about to propose is obviously a conflict of interest. And so Sarah and I have talked about that. And I want to be clear that this is me advocating a position for you to adopt. And I'm happy to answer questions, but I will not participate in the vote. It's just the appropriate thing to do. So what I'd like to do here, and let me tell you the conclusion that I'd like to reach. We simply are looking for the DDA's endorsement of developing an actual proposal. Today is not about approving a expenditure. It's about, this is an idea that would require some hard work between Fraser Valley Arts and the town, probably the town's attorney, for us to come up with the contract language for a percent for the art for the center program. So just to be clear on that. Here's the idea, and I've alluded to this in the past. The idea is to help support the construction of the Fraser Center for the Creative Arts. The DDA would allocate a small percentage, I'm suggesting 2%, but that would be to be determined, of future net taxed revenues. You just saw Troy's projection of that, and I'll come back to that in a minute. To Fraser Valley Arts, earmarked specifically for the center's construction and ongoing operation. This is similar in concept to ideas that are in place around the country, including my hometown in Michigan, where the town supports those things, because the idea is that a center like that pulls people in. As you saw a few months ago, we showed a projection of around a $2 million impact on the community outside of the center. That would be restaurants, hotels, businesses, etc. So the idea is there is a vested interest in pursuing it because it's the magnet. Just to remind you, we're projected to host 75 to 100 events a year, along with daily activities in the building, whether it be the studio work, artists in residence, and other things. So there would be people in the building somewhere around 250 to 300 days a year. And the center and the programming, we've worked hard to make it consistent with the brand that Sarah Wick and the town of Fraser are building around arts being an important part of the town's identity. Moreover, with the Advent, the center it will be hosting things in it, and we would make the facility available to the DDA and to others who are hosting events elsewhere. A great example of that, while we've really enjoyed the Alpine Art Affair being in Winter Park, that's the type of thing that could move to the vicinity of the center, therefore creating another event like the Mural Festival, like Fire and Ice, that brings people to the community to enjoy it and to spend their money. So what does this conceptually look like? This is the what part of this. Beginning when the DDA net incremental revenues exceed $75,000 a year. And to be clear, what I'm suggesting is we don't do any of this until we hit a more mature standpoint in terms of revenues and from the DDA. So I'm suggesting $75,000 a year. That would be something that we would admit, Greg. That wouldn't kick in until that point, and that's something that could be debated. And based on those current projections, what you see here is a 2% increment on that net amount that comes after the county 5% is taken out. Starting in around 2026, the budget and forecast is supposed to be 43,000. So this wouldn't kick in till around 28. When we hit 85, that would be $1,500 a year. When we hit 100,000, it'd go to 2. When we hit $500,000, it would go to 10, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this is a lot like how I used to build executive compensation in my HR days. I only want to pay money when I have it. And when I don't have it, I don't want to pay it. And so I want to make the system kind of ironclad so that the system generates the control. That's the idea. FDA in the center, we already have support. I think this is important for all of you to know. You may not be aware, whether it's the town of Fraser, Grand County Tourism, the town of Granby, Rendezvous, Colorado, Grand Foundation, the Chamber, numerous other businesses, and hundreds of individuals have already committed their financial support to this effort. We're at about $3.5 million, including the value of the land. And we're within $2 million of being able to break ground. And I think that is sometime right around this 2027, 2028 period when this would kick in. So this has gone from a if it happens to a when it happens proposition. And then lastly, one of the things I wanted to make sure, and credit to Parks for helping me brainstorm this, I want to make sure that there's an ROI here for both the town and the DDA. Obviously, drawing people into the community to spend money is one of those things, but there's other benefits. So for example, when the center is built, we'd be happy, given the support, to make it available to this body for its needs, whether it be meetings, whether it be an event, and do so on a complimentary basis in recognition of that support. The other things that we're doing is, we promote events already. We're in the process of looking into signage on the highway. And one of the things I've talked to the town about that I would extend to the DDA is when there are events that involve Fraser in general for the DDA, for the town, we will be promoting those on those venues, whether they be the static ones or the online ones. Again, and just in the general interest of driving visitation. So what I'm looking for, and happy to answer any questions, but I will recuse myself from the vote, is your support to investigate this, turn it into a specific proposal that we would bring back to this group for a deep dive. At that time, you would approve whether or not we want to do this, and then would make that recommendation to the town board. Questions?
Not really. It's exciting. I think it's well said. That doesn't look like a lot of money we'd be giving you, though. Not until we climb up, which is good.
Yeah. And that was kind of my idea,
Yeah.
and I'm straddling two lines here. So I didn't want to saddle the DDA with, an obligation that soaked up all of our investable funds.
Do we see us doing any other partnership like this, or
That was going to be my question, is I think just in, historical other DDA stuff, is there other things that we would look at that may come in the future?
is what do you call this? Like, what's the term for the 2% share?
I just had
Okay.
for the center.
Yeah, I was wondering if there was a like affiliate or I don't know.
I think my only concern is that we're making decisions for the next DDA right now.
Mm.
So that's the only concern I had with it was
Troy still here?
Hmm,
Oh, he's not.
no.
He is, yeah, and I think it'd be good to have Troy weigh in. I'll just throw in real quick. With anything like this, with government, quasi-government entities, you're always throwing in language subject to annual appropriations. I think it also would be appropriate to put a timeline on this, whether it be for 5 years that the commitment is or what makes sense. And then it's obviously can be subject to renewal. To a certain extent, if you put a sign in today or something like that, that's a decision that's made at this point in time. But a lot of what the DDA does is kind of more long-term range, right? If we make a deal with the developer, a lot of times it's just we're giving them back the increment that we would otherwise receive, but that does mean we're forgoing that increment, right? And so that decision is kind of being made for that future board there as well. And those tend to be more concrete agreements, right? That if you build this, we'll give you back 50% of your increment, the increment that we otherwise would receive, something along those lines. So I think it is a balance of thinking about the future board and the future state of the DDA, but also recognizing that DDAs are structured largely for kind of those long-term investments.
Do we know
Well
what the
said,
incre-
Sarah. I don't have anything to add.
Oh,
Do we
great.
know what the increment would be for the build? Like, what the
Because
DDA
Fraser Valley Arts is a nonprofit art
Nonprofit.
center,
Right.
we would expect that it would have tax exempt status. So it's kind
Okay.
of a bit of a, interesting is not the right word, but for lack of a better word, interesting case in that we are supporting something that we are not going to get increment from, whereas
Mhm.
normally we'd be supporting things that get increment. But I think there's an argument to support it because of the value it will bring to the community in downtown. This has long been sold, rightly so, by Steve as an anchor for our downtown. And we could expect to hopefully see increases in property values around it that we would get increment from, as well as just people coming and, supporting the local businesses and generating that business and that tax revenue for the community. Does that make sense? So we're not getting
Yes.
any increment directly, but we do expect that, there's value that it's bringing to the community.
One thing I would add to that is we are investigating the use of some space, particularly if the parking situation is resolved to this extent, where we wouldn't have to dedicate as much room to parking.
Mm.
And there is a possibility that we could sublet to a for-profit entity.
Mm.
That's not our preference. We prefer to do things like a library annex or another nonprofit, which would continue to be exempt. But if it were such that we sublet to a for-profit entity, I don't know if that generates some measure of revenue, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did.
Okay.
Would we want to put a cap on how much we are giving out after we get to like that $2 million mark or whatnot? We don't want to be giving out like 50 grand. I don't know if that math works out, but
Future what their costs are.
Sure,
Most
sure.
of it is for operation.
but like
Because running as a nonprofit, I'm thinking of Basalt, which is where a number of us went to look at their public art center and how that works. What kind of increment are they guaranteed from the city?
And Katie, great comment. I don't remember exactly the cap, but it's also a different structure because that land was owned by the developer. And when he developed the property in the documents for the property that he owned, he wrote in, I think it's a 1% real estate transaction fee.
Okay.
So all those buildings that you saw around the center one of the reasons why the Basalt Center is so resource rich is they did get and continue to get a percent of that revenue. This would be structured such that it is very different and much less lucrative, simply because the town doesn't own all of those properties, right? They're privately owned. So I can always look into what that number is.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I was just curious. That makes sense. Yeah, a lot of unknowns.
But I mean, I agree, like,
I'm all for working towards an agreement, personally.
Yeah, I think there's, I
Absolutely.
mean,
It's like-
there's going to be limited opportunities for strategic partnerships, right? And this would be an easy one that seems like, we've talked about it. It'll be more and more a part, I think, of
Yeah.
this organization, right, as that grows. So yeah, I think it's just a matter of figuring out,
I think,
how is it a win-win-win in the very early stages?
yeah, just I think leaving room for the next DDAs to make decisions.
Be cautious about it, do not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so he has
you know,
considered term subject to renewal there. That's leaving that, what,
1,500 to 10,000's
sure,
a big shift, especially if we're only making, what was that?
Well, that one, it was like,
10,000 based on 500,000.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
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 but
and that also means that
that's not,
the
I-
the development here is going to continue to go, and there's only so much land in the DDA.
yeah.
So really, there can only be so much development, and we don't know what that is yet. But
Right.
um,
I think to me, it's just hearing about the two properties
Yeah.
that we're not going to make money off of,
sure,
hence the veterinary clinic, the bill there. I'm like, wait, where are we making the money? So, yeah, I just feel like right now I'm hearing of what we don't qualify to get benefits from.
yeah, yeah.
So in combination, I'm like, wait, how are we making the 500,000? So just playing devil's advocate, I'm obviously a huge cheerleader for the center. So
Yeah.
Absolutely. It just needs to be like
I mean, that's going to be in like
Development.
2037, literally,
fulcrum.
by the time it's at 500,000. So
and I don't
Or-
think I understood exactly how the art center was working in terms to get to that next 2 million. So you said it really well, but I didn't know how and when it was going to be built. So knowing that you're looking at 2027, 2028 is where you're going to reach that
It's our guess.
sum
Yeah.
to break ground.
Yeah. You got $2 million burning a hole in your pocket that could change tomorrow.
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
because of that, I might get a lot
Get
of
off your wallet, Abby.
but I feel like I just have other questions about what are the other strategies to get to the 2 million, and that's probably just investors, right?
Well, so it's a not-for-profit.
Yeah,
So
and
typically,
grants and
rather than investors, these are
See.
donors.
Great.
Yeah.
And we so far have no contractual commitments that would qualify as the obligations that come with an investor.
Yeah,
And
Great.
I'd like to stay away from that
Yeah.
until we get to the point where we do a bond offering. And bond offerings, which is how we'll pay for the second half of the amount of money we need, we'll have about $5 or $6 million. We'll borrow the rest. When you create a bond offering, you sell the bond to investors and you make them promises. So
Cool.
those will be our investors.
yeah. I mean, I think that the notes you took are great to move forward on putting a thing together.
Make a motion.
Can I just, I see Troy has his hand raised. I don't know if that was from earlier.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. I would just tell you, my comment goes back a few minutes to a cap. I would, for me, I'm a big supporter of this project and the arts in general. I've got a couple other DDA clients looking at these similar types of projects. But as far as, I'm almost looking at this a little bit like a reimbursement agreement that you might have with the developer. And those are typically capped by amount and time. So this is, I think, a very helpful exercise for you all because it helps you kind of consider, a longer term view, as Sarah said. So all those things that Sarah said about subject to annual appropriation, those are all true. But I do think thinking about a cap and a timeline deadline are going to be helpful for your first redevelopment and reimbursement agreement, which, you know, we'd like to happen in the next couple of years because that means we're kind of growing in a good way. But yeah, I just want to make sure that you all are thinking about this with a cap, either by annually or in total. But yeah, I think this is a good exercise to get you guys prepped for your first reimbursement agreement, whenever that might happen.
I think there is one other issue we ought to ponder, and that is because we haven't had any substantial funds, we as a group haven't really thought through on a global basis how and where we want to spend that money. So it seems like that ought to be a conversation this group has before we make any long-term commitments. Now, granted, it's a small amount, so you can disagree with me, but we really haven't had the opportunity or real need to really discuss how we want to spend the money.
So
Well, I will just throw in relation to that comment, and then I am trying to listen, but jumping in the car to go to the doctors. We did develop the financial investment policy, so that does have some parameters. This past January, February, we worked with Troy on that, and the board approved a version. So we have that as kind of a baseline for some criteria. And then we do have the work plan, and the goal that was developed alongside the DDA plan of development. The plan is to revisit that at the beginning, either in January, likely January, if not February of 2026, when we come back kind of after the holidays, to kind of restructure some of our more short-term priorities for the year. But you bring up a valid point of making sure that we're always just kind of trying to look at these things holistically as we make these individual decisions as well.
Completely agree with the comment and Sarah's follow-up comments. Yeah, I do think it's a worthwhile exercise that, yeah, the work plan kind of focuses on the short-term stuff, but yeah, I think it's very astute to kind of start thinking about, hey, what does this look like in 5, 10, 15 years? So good comments all around.
Yeah, which, by the way, was why I was keen to not have this conversation until we had Troy's projection.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a comment about the endorsement at this time because it's minimal. And when it comes to other funders, they look to see who's supporting a project.
Right.
I think that's a good point.
And
We're
it's
gonna get
our Downtown Development Authority. It's going to be the heart and soul of our downtown.
Mhm.
And so if nothing else, for $1,500, probably 2 years from now, it's a minimal commitment.
Mhm.
And every year is subject to appropriations.
Yeah.
That's my take on it.
There's Greg's got his hand up.
Yeah, sorry if you mentioned this earlier, Steve. I was getting on and off the call. But is the idea for these funds to kind of help subsidize operations or actually fund the construction, or what's like the use in your mind of these funds? Just
Yeah, so in my view, or at least the way I've written this, and we would come up with the specific terms, it would be both. In the pre-construction days, it would go into the general fund towards construction. And then post-construction, those funds would go into the operating costs. We'll probably have, we're going to have electrical bills, we're going to have gas bills, we're going to keep the lights on, et cetera. And so it'd be supporting that. What it wouldn't go to would be anything ancillary to the center. This would be dedicated to that specific facility.
yeah, because my thought is, even though we have, not a lot of funds right now, if a commitment from the DDA to something more substantial would make the project more bankable on the construction side, like I want to support an arrangement no matter how we structure it, but I think there might be more value in, of our budget last year. I don't know how much we didn't spend, and I don't know how much we have in terms of topics or things we want to spend money on for the next couple years. I think changing the structure to be more of a substantial investment for a shorter term and pertaining just to construction, then might, I would imagine, help Steve raise the rest of the money if there's a more substantial commitment from us. And then there's the DDA can say, hey, we helped build this art center, but we didn't, saddle the DDA with a 30-year commitment to something. Just, and not that I'm opposed for either structure. I just think that might be a structure to look at while we're trying to come up with ideas of how to spend our money that we do have. If there's a $20,000 commitment from the DDA for 4 years or whatever, that might be more beneficial to you, Steve, when it comes to raising money. I don't know, just a thought.
I agree with that concept.
Certainly would be, and to both of your points, the talk track with donors about the towns, the county, and now the DDA, the chamber, that's all very helpful. And I've already had some major foundations tell us the second we have ground break scheduled, because of that community support, they will be willing to put money in. I don't want to use their name in a public meeting. So this is going to help, no matter, frankly, the amount of the contribution. The fact that we have that type of support will be very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Parks, I did want to recommend that we put it on the agenda to design a redisbursement redevelopment agreement questionnaire. Because right now we've hit some talk points: time, money, like time cap, money cap, lump sum versus trickling. I think it would help our brains if we just had a sheet to look at that we reviewed, right?
Yeah,
Like
I
a
think so.
blueprint.
Yeah, like Troy said, this is like this would be a learning lesson for
Yeah.
everyone, and a good foundation going forward.
Yeah, I don't see why we can't put it on the next agenda to talk about it again, or
Yeah.
bring it up again in the future, and just, work towards something. I don't think that's a problem with me. If you guys want to make the motion to put it on another agenda.
So right now, though, we want, what I believe that we need to do here is say that, yes, we want to address it in the future, and we would like Fraser Valley Public Arts to develop a proposal for us.
Yeah, we just, it needs
So
to
I could
be-
make that a motion.
That'd be great.
That's my motion. Got that,
Seconded.
Antoinette?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Awesome. Great.
And I recuse.
So,
Yeah, great
Uh,
proposal.
seconded?
Yeah.
I did.
Nick.
Nick did.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank
ski
you.
ride save with Sarah.
Hi, everybody. The other Sarah wanted me to put together a short presentation of what a Google ad campaign
Bye. Thank you.
would potentially look like, if that's the route that you
Thanks, Jen.
guys would love to go down. So do you want to, can you pull that up? Okay. And I believed we kind of touched on this a little bit in the last meeting.
We did, yeah.
Okay. My brain's not functioning properly, so.
Oh, take me there.
I don't know. Do you have to do
It looks so
the screen
good.
and the dots? Yeah, you can just, if you want to pull that, we can do that. That's fine. All right, so the campaign goal is basically to promote your ski ride save promotion that you guys have been working on. Last year, you kind of did something, but in my opinion, it was a soft launch. It wasn't executed properly. It was kind of last minute. So now we have a little bit of time. So what this could potentially look like, can I use this to, okay. That's a pretty picture. All right, so as I said, this is to promote awareness to your ski ride save program, reaching Winter Park Express, Amtrak and Mustang riders, and then also Front Range, Denver Front Range skiers looking for deals, visitors searching for discounts, people planning Winter Park Fraser trips online. So this would be driving traffic to the Explore Fraser ski ride save page, or whatever you decided. That page is already set up, so it's kind of a no-brainer. Why would we be using Google Ads? We can reach the people that are already searching for this stuff. So that's the main reason. The Winter Park Express deals, Ski Train Colorado. We can grab all of those people that are already searching for these activities. Plus, we get more measurable results, effective spend, and it gets the campaign in front of the people before they get here. So what we would promote, ride the train, save all around Fraser, exclusive discounts for Winter Park Express, Amtrak, Bustang riders, show your ticket, get a deal. These terms can all be adjusted too. So featured partners, I know Sarah has been working on getting everybody's business deals, so we can add that to the page. But obviously breweries, coffee shops, bike ski shops, restaurant, retailers, and activities. These are the types of campaigns we'd run. The search ads, think about those. Like when you search something, it would be the ones that come up first. You can see a little sponsored thing like right underneath them. So that's the search ads. Display ads will show up in the sides of the page. Usually there's a visual pictures in them. And then the YouTube ads are the ads in between the videos that you watch. Sometimes you can skip through them. You can set it up so they can't be skipped as well. So those would be the 3 types that Google allows you to run. So I also included 3 different options depending on how much you wanted to spend, if this is the direction that you wanted to go. The more you spend, obviously, the more visible you get and the different types of ads you can run. This first one is the basic search ad. Again, those pop up just when you search things. And the expected performance on these as well. And it's best for a soft launch if you just kind of want to test the waters and see what kind of feedback you're getting from people searching. This one is supposed to be B, but I forgot to switch it. So this would be the second highest spend, $500 per month. This would be search campaigns and then also display, which would allow you to put some visuals in there. And then a little bit of the YouTube push. And then the expected performance on these. And then this is option C, $1,000 a month. And it goes through the different ads we could run on this one. And then I went through different types of campaigns and what this could potentially look like. So the headlines and then the descriptions. Again, these headlines could be tailored to whatever you guys thought would work. You can add a bunch of different headlines and descriptions when you set these things up. And this would be an example of display ads. These are usually still images too. And then the YouTube ads would be little short 6 to 12 second videos of people riding the train, coming off the train, walking around downtown Fraser, etc. My recommendation would be to start with the middle. Even if you think about this for only 3 months, that's only $1,500 spent on advertising, which if you've ever advertised with the Sky High, that's usually what they charge for a full page ad. And that's not for 3 months. That's just one time. So to me, like you can do print ads with Sky High, but like nobody's going to see them, quite honestly. You could also go higher with the $1,000. And again, that's only $3,000 for the whole winter, basically. And the great thing about this is that we can track this. We can see who's visiting from where, how long they're spending on the page, if they're clicking on anything, what they're searching for. And I can give you all that information on a monthly basis.
I have a really weird question.
Yeah.
If we weren't here, would this be the town of Fraser's marketing budget?
What do you mean?
Well,
Like-
it is because they're letting us use Sarah.
Right.
Well,
That's what I'm just wondering. I'm like, wait.
I think I know what you're asking. I'm running 2 campaigns already on Google.
Yeah.
One is for the Find Your Flow winter, and it's promoting cross country skiing, fat biking, and snow tubing. And then the other one is for Fraser Fire and Ice. So I'm already running 2 Google ad campaigns.
So then this is DDA's contribution to assist with.
Yeah,
Yes,
yes. And
okay.
it's going to that page on the website.
Right,
Instead of just going to the homepage or something like that. So you can kind of
totally.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering, like, the taglines and headlines would be about the activities, but that's in the Find Your Flow already. You're
Yeah.
focusing on the recreation, and this one's more of like activating the downtown.
Right.
Shop.
And
Okay.
riding the train and then stopping in Fraser and walking
Totally.
around and visiting the businesses.
Okay, I'm with you now.
And for reference, we have community outreach amount of $5,000 available. We've spent 80 as of October. So
So we have some money.
we
for
have
this?
money. So
Yeah,
I'm not sure
okay.
how much we've spent since October, but yeah, we definitely have money to do any of these options, or even more if we wanted to.
That's great reference. Thank
Just
you.
in my experience, I don't think we need to do much more than $500 a month, because it doesn't really affect too much more. That'd pretty much be like where we want to be, with my experience with ads. So
Okay, cool. That helps me understand what we're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
you got the
Hey, do you think we should try it for 3 months and see how it works?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Like there's no commitments. We don't have to like
And we're
You can
gonna
go
commit
cancel
to
it after a month.
anything.
we're gonna get
Yeah.
numerical
all.
feedback, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And like I said, I can give you the results in a month and you can be like, well, maybe we want to see a little bit. Obviously, the more you spend, the more traffic you get. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just the way it works.
Mhm.
So you can run it for a month and then we can revisit it and you can be like, oh, maybe we should bump it up to, 1,000 during February just to see what the difference is. And because,
Or 1,000 on a slow month.
yeah, yep.
Does that make sense?
Because we won't probably need it as much in March because it's already crazy here.
Yeah.
But,
Right.
yeah.
Just to add to kind of ads in general that are viewed online. If you're just doing the still pictures and you're just kind of doing these little clips that are maybe a little bit more royalty-free clips versus structured shots that you look at that are more vibrant, that does have a major impact. So if I am clicking on Google or you're clicking on Google ads and something pops up, you look at it and it's somewhat inviting, you're just, it's going to be a waste of time. You're going to see 4,000 people looked at it and clicked on it, but nobody came up here.
Mhm.
Sarah shot a commercial with Connor Nelson for the gravel biking, and it clearly had a massive impact because I didn't stop seeing gravel bikers all year. And there was like hordes of them, like 30 of them at once down a road together every day.
Yeah.
And then there was multiple hordes of them.
And mountain bikers too. And like, we can say that it was because of that ad, like you just don't know. But
No, but I
That's
felt
selling it. He's
you
selling
can
it.
see the traffic to the website, but then like to actually see people out and like
yeah.
to me that was like, I mean, I would see large groups of people heading out towards the trails, not
Oh,
like 3 or
massive.
4, like 8 to 15 people. in
Massive.
groups.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in data that's not anecdotal.
Yeah.
But
But
I'm an avid cyclist.
Yeah.
I ride these roads
Yeah, all of a
6
sudden.
days a week, and the volume of people on gravel bikes has
Yeah.
just exploded in the last 18 months.
And
What
I'm
was-
telling you, that ad was really aesthetic. When you watched it, it really made you want to come up here.
What
It's
was
like,
different about that one versus any, like,
okay,
is
because
there a change?
when you have like a treatment that they put together, they actually shot a full-blown commercial. So like when you see it, you see someone riding in slow motion, the wheel turning, the dirt coming off the
Set.
tire, the sunset, you know what I mean? Like
Cinematic.
it's very cinematic versus like what the DDA has right now. If you don't create something cinematic like that you can re-put back into the lineup next year at the same time, like kids throwing snowballs at each other and, like whatever, you have to make it cinematic. Otherwise, it's really kind of a wash on Google. So Sarah does a really good job of that, and I want to say that. So if you are going to put money into this and you're going to throw $500 a month at Google and you're banking on like a still picture of downtown and they see the distillery, well, that's not doing it any better than them, knowing that the distillery is there and seeing their Google picture on Google Maps.
Like I'd rather hear like a martini glass shaking at the distillery
You
and
want to
someone
see
pouring
it,
glass.
and someone has to shoot that.
Yeah.
Is my point. So like if she builds this ad, she's putting her time in, which is beautiful, but at the same time, it's not going. There's no way that we're gonna see more traffic from it, and I hate to say that, but
like
No, you're totally right. So, and that's what I see, especially with like the YouTube shorts, because people are like scrolling and they're just literally
Yeah.
doing this until you get something that's like show stopping, like people aren't gonna see it. And then the algorithm kicks in and then like it starts showing up on other people's phones that are like, maybe they've searched for, ski train or,
yeah.
Winter Park and stuff like that. So it's all kind of
Yeah.
tied together. You have to have the right content.
Mhm.
And like I can shoot stills and video all day long, but it's definitely not like what like a true cinematographer can do. So it would be like spending the money on the ads, but also maybe getting some really good content too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what does the YouTube videos and everything like that look like
Yeah.
with the $500 option and the $1,000 option and the costs and all of that kind of stuff? Because this kind of seems like you're just giving us options for what we need to pay Google, but there's a
Right.
lot of
But
other
then there's
things.
the price that so that would be the ad spend, and
Right.
then creating the content would be another spend too.
Yeah, and if she does it for free, it's
She's-
gonna only be A, we're taking up her time. B,
Yeah.
It's not going to be the like
it's
I
not
said,
gonna
I
be
can-
what she got
You're not
created.
gonna just do a picture of a muffin.
Yeah. Greg does have his hand up. If maybe he has something to say here.
Yeah,
Greg?
I was just gonna say, I noticed on Sarah's presentation, I guess is a question for you, Sarah Wick. Once you spend 1,000, you said the businesses start to really see the benefit.
Mhm.
I would err on the side of only doing it if the businesses are gonna see the benefit, so err towards spending that 1,000 if there's a reasonable way of coming to that assertion that by spending 1,000 businesses see the benefit. And then what Park said, I agree with as well, that if we are going to do Google ads, it's got to be well thought out and something eye catching. But I would think, I mean, Nick mentioned it. We had $5,000. We didn't spend it. We just rolled it to 10 grand next year. This is a perfect kind of use of funds in my mind for community outreach for businesses in the DDA. So I would say if we're going to do it, at least spend what we need to spend for businesses to see the benefit. So I don't know how you came to that conclusion that by spending 1,000, they see the benefit, but I would definitely spend at least 1,000 if that's what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Greg. What do you think's involved in cost wise, and is there anybody local that can do it?
Sure,
It's-
there's people local, there's people that aren't local. It's so cost wise, you're looking at, and let's just put it this way, if you're gonna create content, do it right, and then it's gonna be able to be used forever. So she can rerun her gravel bike ad from now to the end of time, and it's gonna have the same impact it had from now till 2037.
I mean, like we pay a marketing firm to do video footage, and actually Outside Magazine went out with Jones Pass Guides, and we got some epic footage.
Yeah,
And we worked really long and hard on the contract to where we can actually use the footage instead of it being just their footage. And then Connor went out with our Samuelson Outfitters. He actually just sent
Yeah.
it to our marketing firm
good.
where we can use it. So I think it could look like a lot of different things. But sometimes perfectionism can get in the way. And I think like executing the Google ads and then moving forward with a plan in the future. I don't know if we would be able to put together the type of content we're talking about right now for next month.
It's expensive to do really, really nice content that you can use for a long time.
Yeah.
However, if you do invest in that, you've got it, and
Yeah.
it's good, and you can rework it. You could do whatever you want. You can use one clip, and
agree.
just to say, like, the impact of that is really high because if she puts out her ad, what happens is I see it and I share it to you, and it creates people wanting to share it versus just seeing it and clicking by it or seeing it and being like, cool, I'll look into that a little bit and then just forget about it. I'm sending it to Sarah going, Sarah, are we going to the mountains to ride bikes together tomorrow or what?
Look at this, look at this
But here's-
video.
I said local is just to
Yes.
cut down travel costs. I know.
Local there
That
is,
But I
um,
think if, sorry to interrupt, if you look at like just filming 5 hours of footage, like, finding a partnership, someone that can do it, and then splicing it up and sharing it with you, like you can use it for all the other ads, right? But I don't know, how long did Connor film the bike one?
I mean, that was a couple days, I think.
Yeah, it was 3 days, but it wasn't all day. It depended on what we were shooting. It was $7,000 and then I get all the footage so I can do basically whatever I want with it. And he does the full length edit for me.
Right.
But that one,
That's
I
like
mean, that one was, I think that full ad is like 30 to 45 seconds. I can't remember. I would think we could make this one a little, if you wanted to get it done by January, I think we could.
Turn It Up Media gave us a quote to come film. They're who we use, Marilee McDonald, longtime resident, Grand Lake. Different aesthetic from Connor,
Oh,
but I think like looking at people that could maybe provide a quote closer to like 1,800 for like 5 hours, 6 hours of
I
footage.
think As the Crow Flies Productions with Cassie is a good one. It's going to be maybe more drone oriented and
Nice.
in the ground.
Yeah.
That would probably be pretty cheap. I don't know what her rates are, but I'm guessing it would be like $1,000 to get it done.
Yeah.
You could start with something like that and see how it works, and you could always continue to run that. However, if you want to dive in, I think it is good to kind of go big and then own it and have it, and then you don't have to worry about it for the next 10 years.
Right.
So my,
For a couple thousand, we could do something that would fit. This is out of my range of knowledge.
Sure.
Although I look at YouTube like a couple hours a day while I watch that. Walk my dog.
That's the great thing about YouTube is
But I skip all the ads because I'm
Yeah.
listening to economists.
yeah.
Anything, do you,
Yes.
don't you think for a couple grand?
I think that what we should do is
Is
we should
Tommy
probably
gonna
put
be in
out a
town
call.
anytime soon?
A town, yeah, he's in town 10 times a year.
Yeah,
I think that if you put out a call, like
Yeah.
a talent call kind of, and you could say, hey, the Fraser DDA is looking to build a commercial. Throw it out on social media. We can all share it. I don't know how realistic that is, but if we all shared it, we'd probably get some good.
Yeah.
We can put out to specific people. We can throw it to Cassie, you Turn Up Productions, and then Connor, and see where they come back. And it's going to be vastly, it's going to be a different pitch from each one of them. And then you can make a decision. I think that's what we should do for the next step on this.
If we have in the budget, I think that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
so speaking of the budget, so we have 5,000 for the budget.
Yeah.
This year, but then 10,000 next year. So we
Starting
have,
January 1st.
yeah, we have plenty of money to
Okay,
spend on
okay.
this if we
Yeah,
feel
Sounds good. So basically we have
10,000.
starting January, so we have 5,000 to make
Starting-
a video this month.
it'd be like
And then we
basically
can use the 3,000 for the $1,000 Google ads from the 10,000. So we could get Connor to make it.
The thing is,
killer
like, if you
video.
did that and you
You get a
got
15 grand.
somebody to, let's say you spent all 5,000, right?
Mhm.
The good thing is then you have the video. Okay, so you could maybe do content creation now and then start of next term, which is January, you could then push it and start pushing it, or you could go lower in, get it done. It's probably not going to be done before then anyways. And, you can, I just think that you should put it out there and you should have people pitch it to you because they're going to be able to tell you
Yeah.
what they're going to be able to shoot, and you'll decide if you like what they shoot, and they might even have
I don't know why I'm
videos for you
voting.
to go look. Huh?
I don't know why I'm like cringing to just wanting to go with people that we know are ready to do the work.
I know, and you've seen
That's
the
just how-
aesthetics.
Like,
You've seen the aesthetics of what, certain
Yeah.
people can do, and
and just
it's tough. Like,
it takes time and energy to like vet people too.
it's
It-
the
it-
time that I'm worried about because we
also
need to get
just
this out like
3 weeks.
now.
Yeah. That makes sense. Like if Marilyn and them could just like come up and like do it and you're like,
Yeah,
great,
well,
great. Like you can do it in 2 weeks. Awesome. Sounds good.
I think it's more of a long term, a little bit Like
I think
the
so.
next few months goal versus rushing it?
I think
To
if
start
I
an
think it's
ad
like
in
next month.
January?
I think
First
if you're
one, like,
gonna have this ski ride save, just like you said, is this forever? I
Yeah.
hope so.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, I hope so. I hope it's one of those things that we're continually pushing the downtown. And if that's our goal, to continually push the downtown and all these businesses, we need to make something that can stand time.
That gives a good point, because it would take 3 days to film all of downtown Fraser, if you think about every business.
When does it look its best?
It's not about,
month.
it's about just creating something that attracts them to downtown. It's not
Yeah.
about what business they're in, more likely. It's not like show the sign to, you know, Camber. It's more like you show the fizzing beer
Driving over the pass
and
or
the
Yes.
snow falling, and you know, like that's something that a cinematographer is going to be able to come up with to drive traffic to the downtown. And I would ask Sarah what your recommendation is. Do you go big, or do you kind of
This
Half-
is what I would do
half glass it?
if you want to have this out by January and you want to have some solid footage, if you know somebody that you know does quality work and you can trust them, give them a budget and say, this is what we want. Can you get this done and have the final edit, 15 to 30 seconds to us by January 1st or a little bit before January 1st, and just do that. I will tell you that I'm probably going to have Connor come and shoot some cross country skiing and stuff this winter, but usually he'll give me like a really short edit and then like some footage that I can use for next year. So I will have some of that outdoorsy stuff already for next year, so you won't have to double up on that. But if this is just for the ski ride save, get somebody that can do it quick and good and turn it around, and that's what I would do.
I'm on board.
I know you want to put it out to the community and like get everybody's
Yeah.
votes and stuff like that, but like if you want this done, like just get it done.
Yeah.
And we
I
talked
think
about
we
this
should-
last year. It's really like showing like how close everything is. Like it's literally
Right.
a block away, right? I
Th-
mean,
yeah.
some simple 15 seconds, like,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm
train
excited
coming in, this is where it is.
the thought of someone coming up on the train and filming, like in the train.
That's influencer. That's it.
But Mary Lee's team would do that.
You know,
I have
so
a high thought that she would be like,
And the train would love it.
yeah, let's get on the train. And then that would be more of like real time. Because I mean, I don't think my family knew how awesome it was until they continued to do it. And they don't even ski,
Yeah.
right? But their team would put a pair of skis
And
on.
Marilee does the drone as
It
well.
doesn't have to be skiers.
Her team, Michael, she has like an in-house filmer.
But they do drone work.
I believe
Everybody
so.
comes up on the train.
But also
that-
don't try not to overcomplicate this. like-
yeah, no,
Yeah.
train
like-
pulling up to the station.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha. You
Plenty
need like,
cinematic.
you need like,
Yeah.
you need a couple seconds
riding
of
inside
that.
of it.
So a lot of the cinematographers will know, like, this is what I'm thinking. And like, I usually just, I don't like to
Then do it.
micromanage them. I like to be like, okay, like,
Yeah.
I trust you because I've seen your work. Just do what you do.
Yeah.
And this is the intended outcome. And then when they do the edit, if it doesn't feel right, you can go back and be like, it's just
Yeah.
moving a little bit too fast. Maybe do you have something like this? Hopefully they've shot enough. And usually they have
Yeah.
because they know what they're doing. So
yeah,
find
the-
somebody that you trust.
The only way that you make inside a train look good is if someone's talking. So that's why the influencers, they shoot from their phone on their face while they're getting on the train. They're in the train, then they come up here and they're like, "Oh my gosh, look, it's snowing!" And then it cuts to the next bit, and they're like, "I'm getting coffee. It's great. I'm drinking. I'm having a good time." That is totally that style production. What we're really talking about is more like, and what she's
Yeah.
gonna want to do with cameras, like real cameras, they're not gonna do that. It's not gonna look good inside that train. They're not gonna
Yes.
be able to get anything that you want. They're gonna show the train wheels coming up in slow-mo, stopping, snow falling by them, people's feet coming off the train,
Right.
you know, walking into a brewery, whatever,
Brewery,
sitting
pour
down,
coffee,
someone
getting-
serving them with a smile, that sort
Yeah.
of thing. That's what your production company's most likely
Yeah,
gonna
I
do.
mean, that footage that Connor got of Aaron drinking a cup of coffee.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's like,
Yeah,
that's-
that makes you want to be there.
yeah,
Okay,
totally.
so
A little bit of slow.
yeah, and he will be
Fluffies.
here on the 20th. But I don't really care who it goes to personally.
Well, Connor
I'm not-
and Turn It Up Media are actually talking to each other about that footage.
Yeah.
So it would be cool to see if,
Do we want to set a amount of money that we're okay spending on this and then
Yeah.
work on a contract and just like give that to a person to do and
Yeah.
approve all of this right now so we don't need to do this next month.
Great idea.
Yes.
But if I could have one real quick comment, I trust you all for the cinematic.
100%.
Way over my head. So I'm going to give you the pseudo economist view of all of this. Breckenridge was down 16% this summer.
Yeah.
Down?
Down. Breckenridge, Colorado, stays, restaurants, everything was down 16% this summer.
Whoa.
If y'all have heard of the thing called the K-shape economy, even though Breckenridge appeals to the K-shape economy is the well-to-do that own stocks and Bitcoin and all that crap are up here, and the other 80% of people are down here. So this is serious stuff. So I totally agree with what you've said, and what you said, I think we should do something. I don't want to rush it and not do it right, but it sounds like you all think it can be done.
Right.
I think this is serious stuff, and to get something done for January, I think is a really positive idea.
I think January 1st, I know I could probably speak on behalf of everybody. If you can squeeze anything into your schedule for January 1st, I'd applaud you.
Yeah. Straight.
Yeah.
I doubt Marilee would be able to squeeze something in like right before.
Let me, so maybe I was just sitting here thinking about this. So since I'm probably going to have Connor shoot stuff for the town anyways, maybe I could be like, hey, this is the town's budget for me. And like, we also want to do this for the DDA.
And then we could
Maybe do
just
some-
add money in
Yes.
Yes.
to the pot.
How does
I
that
think
sound?
that's a smart way to
What
go.
do you see here?
You said the 20th?
The
December?
20th,
Okay.
December. Yeah.
I mean, that would
I
be
mean, that's the closest you're gonna get anybody. Even if you go to Cassie right now, she's gonna be like, by the 20th.
Is it Cassie Allen?
No, it's Cassie Gold again.
Okay, yeah, and I'm working with Marilee with ski joining concepts, and I don't think they'll be able to be up that quickly.
Question,
The holiday.
what he's coming
Yeah.
to do for the
Great.
town, when do you need that end result?
I mean, that could be this year or next year. Like,
So
I have
if he
enough.
has a bunch of stuff, he could do the editing
Yep.
for this project
Yes.
first.
That'd
Yeah,
be so
let's-
cool.
There's Greg.
Stuff in there for-
Jump
Yeah,
on
I-
in, Greg.
I was just gonna say, just a comment, that Ski Ride Save landing page still has everyone's link going to like their different website. My opinion, it would make more sense to go to the Google Maps. I don't know about the business owners'
Right.
opinions.
Yep.
But I think that would make it consistent, and we should update that before we launch.
Agreed.
100% agree as a business owner.
And
Right, good job, Greg.
if you're looking at what Barry said, it's really just about creating something that brings people to Fraser. Where
I
they
agree.
go spend their money does not matter. They're
Totally
gonna
agree
spend
with
their
that.
money here.
We want people to
That's
go
it.
past safely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think let's go ahead and make a motion to spend money on this. How much do you guys want to spend? That sort of thing.
So tell me first how much per month you want to spend on the Google ad.
Let's do the 500.
You want to start in the middle?
I was convinced to jump to 1,000 with good footage, and I'm conservative with that
Yeah,
spending.
if we're doing the
I-
footage, I think to hit the video portion of this, it would make sense. If we can get the video done, it would make sense to then spend the money and
Correct.
utilize that.
And maybe we can do like 1,000 for January because it's so not as busy of a month,
Yeah.
and then kind of test the waters then
See what it looks like.
next month,
And
like move
Okay.
down to 500.
Okay,
and
but
then
we
if this
need a
makes an
quote
impact.
on how much the video is going to cost itself.
So you guys mentioned like around $2,000, right?
That's what my, no,
No.
it wouldn't be that with
That's a
Connor.
no-no.
Well, maybe because like maybe we could split it up. Like the town pays, like my portion is 5 and then your portion is 2.
Why don't
Yeah. Okay.
We-
And
Closer to like.
you get more
30.
footage that way.
Yeah.
At the-
make a
more
motion
you
to have Sarah talk to him and see if he can do it for X, whatever you think.
Can we then?
And we can simply approve a
Yeah,
amount
that's
up
that's my
to,
next question.
Yeah.
up to.
you know,
Let's,
Okay.
and
yeah.
that leaves her room
Greg?
to.
I was gonna say that, doesn't Google Ads, Sarah, work where you say, I'll spend up to this amount, but you
Right.
usually end up spending less? So yeah,
Yes.
I think if we
Yeah,
do
It's
an
per
up to,
click.
up to whatever, we're not gonna spend it.
Right. So I can set it at a max of $1,000 for the month of January and it won't go over that. And some like Greg said, sometimes they don't even spend that much.
Okay.
It fluctuates.
So how much would you guys be comfortable spending on the actual footage itself? 2, 3. I probably wouldn't want to go over 3.
Yeah,
Personally.
I'm
I say if we
close to
maxed
that.
it out, it would be 3 on the video,
And-
1,000
and-
for
and we're
January,
gonna get-
re-look at everything in January.
That's what,
And then January, we get our new budget in, right? Is that correct, or
Do you know
sometime
how many
after?
days he's here
Yes, in
for?
January.
So it's 4,000
He-
just for
I
January.
think he's here for at least a week. But I think we need to see when Sarah's having him shoot, because you're not gonna have him shoot twice.
Right.
So, do you have a date for that or not really?
No, I mean, I was just thinking about that and he'd mentioned he was gonna be here over the winter for a
Yeah.
couple times, so I was like, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
But now that we're talking about this, I think.
Because
we
if the
can-
town spent 5 and we threw in 2, then
Yep.
you have 7, and then he's really inclined to shoot something very nice, and you have a lot of
Right.
footage,
Yep,
and we can make multiple edits from it.
Right.
I'd say not to exceed 3,000.
from your end.
$1,000.
Yeah.
Shoot for 2.
Committed to go
Yeah, I
for
would
it.
say shoot for 2.
Make the last motion. I remember somebody else.
Okay.
Somebody made a motion.
Make a motion to spend up to $3,000 for video production and $1,000 for Google Ads in January and for February and March to be determined.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 We need to make a motion for what you said to start with 1,000 Google.
I think that's what Tiffany mentioned.
Yeah,
That's
part
what
of
the-
the-
Yep.
So we'll do 1,000 in January and then determine.
Yeah,
Senior moment.
and just to put it in,
That motion?
You're young.
I
Kevin,
did.
Give me a
Yeah.
break.
I did.
Parts.
Just to put it before we move on in spec here, I spent like 2K for just pictures of my coffee shops
Yeah.
Mhm.
for my website, 2,000. And that's not to the website guy,
Yeah, we could.
specifically a photographer. So that's a great deal. If it lumps in,
Yeah.
we're gonna get
Town.
an excellent deal. So hopefully that'll work out.
To use now.
If it doesn't work out, then we have money in the bank still.
And I
No
want to
big
be on
deal.
record that I do want to support local filmographers. I
Ev-
just
yeah.
didn't think time-wise it would have been in favor
Yeah.
of anybody.
Anything that Connor will tell you the same thing. Winter Park Film Fest will say the same thing. Any film that happens in the valley from anybody is supporting local film, because
Yeah.
it makes people wanna continue to film here.
Mhm.
Like, just the film festival stuff is now, they're showing films of indigenous ski films at the YMCA now. They've
Saw that.
never done that. So it's
That's cool.
becoming a thing.
Perfect.
One
Yeah,
question,
apologize for having to duck out here,
Yeah.
but I appreciate you guys, and I'll be on the call. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for having that budget ready too.
oh, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Okay, so moving on, some updates on the social media working group. I think that's supposed to kind of be with Kelly and who is on that social media working group?
Sarah mentioned something to me at the park. She said she wanted to talk to me. I wasn't at the last meeting.
Sarah mentioned that what
Okay,
she would hope for is that you
right.
guys could create a subgroup to work on the social media working group, just 1 to 2 members that can work with Callie on the social media stuff. If you do more than 2 members, it becomes a meeting and it has to be publicly posted.
That's right.
Yeah.
So a meeting, does anybody want to do that?
I know you're looking at me.
Yeah, I know. I think it's gonna be you and me to,
I don't
Yeah.
mind doing it if I don't know a lot, but I need to learn more. So
Oh,
That's a good
I like that.
idea.
That's so good.
that is good. I don't mind either way, so. Nope.
What's the commitment looking like? Because I'm
I think
Tapped.
it's meeting
We don't come-
I'm
once
just
in a
I'm-
while
I can help, but
with Callie,
I think about.
or,
your
you know,
At work.
I think you guys would work with Callie. and
Yeah,
Set a
think
schedule
so.
that would work for the 3 of you.
so be communicating with
Alternate.
Callie and coming up with some posts and stuff.
yeah.
I might just keep the 3 of us. Let's
And
look
then
at it, and then
interchange.
we'll make sure that 2 out of the 3 come,
Yeah.
Okay.
but not all 3.
But
Not
you
all
guys
three.
can't
I mean, if we all three communicate on a phone call, then it's a
Or
meeting.
we just,
Kelly
You
Kelly
can't-
doesn't
yeah,
sit on this
exactly.
committee, so that's not considered a meeting. She's a staff member.
but if all
Callie
three of
is?
us text
Yeah,
to see who
that-
can go.
No,
is
it
that
needs
okay?
to be two people communicate with Callie. I will do it with you if you want.
Yeah, just
Unless-
staff too.
Yeah.
to keep
Why don't we
Kelly-
just start with us and we can rotate if someone's out. Next meeting we can.
And then we'll just send
yeah.
it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Fill
sounds
your
great.
free time.
Why don't we communicate with
Yeah.
Callie?
Hey,
and
I'll
we'll
be
meet
the,
up at
can I be the approver?
But you guys, the three of you
To review?
cannot
Sure.
exchange emails
No.
if you're
Yeah.
sitting out, just
No,
a
no.
reminder.
Okay.
No, no.
Just teasing her.
I think
Okay.
if you want to be involved, you can be. And I can step down for this one. I really don't
I
care.
mean, I feel
She's
like,
got so much on her plate.
I know, well,
Oh my
and
gosh.
it was a big year,
Actually,
but
on her leg.
yeah,
They all pretty much attached to
I
her
do love
legs.
it though.
No.
I mean, I do love it. Now that we have a marketing firm fully onboarded for all of the businesses,
Yeah.
but sometimes I can't be present because a kid gets sick.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
I'm the, what do they call the backup?
How many days a week do you have available?
None.
Okay, so then why don't we just why don't
Okay.
we do it, and then if at the next meeting we haven't come up with something, you can just fill one of the seats. How about that?
I love it. Sounds
The seat can be rotating. There's
I do.
social media musical chairs.
Okay.
All right. So
We don't need a motion.
now I don't believe we do.
Okay.
We'll just we'll communicate.
Social
Okay.
network.
Railroad station signage, that's an update from me. It was roughly $20 a square foot for them to print and for the actual material. And then Chris Peters said he would cut it on the CNC for 350. So I think we're at a rough, and I should have a formal email eventually. I've just asked like 10 times. Yeah. So I think it was $1,380 or something like that.
Versus what was the other?
8,000.
That's significantly cheaper.
So I think it's a great. I think we can't really approve it without a formal email, but if we want to move forward, then I will just kind of tell them
And then I would also just look at like what it's being made out of too.
it's the same material.
Is it?
It is the aluminum composite. That's why it has to be cut on a CNC. And then it's printed on by the sign shop at the resort. And they print all the signs that sit up in the weather.
Okay.
So they're pretty good at it. They printed all my signs. They're not going to hang it for you, but Amtrak said that they wanted to hang it.
Right.
So if we can get them printed and cut and put in your office, let's say that let's say up to $2,000.
I would say if you made a motion not to exceed a maximum amount, you're fine.
Yeah, if we do that and they're sitting in your office waiting for Amtrak, they last 5 years. That's huge. I mean, that's major, you know. We didn't spend $8,000. We got
Right.
what we wanted to done. It looked exactly the same, and we used some community members to make it. So
So without a formal email proposal, we can make a motion to spend up to X amount
then when we get it, we can
and then just push it through after that.
just as long as we get the formal emails, yeah.
And
they
we'll be
said they
adding
would.
the elevation to it too per.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah, that's fine. I don't think extra printing matters. As long as it's on the design for it.
Someone like to make that motion?
Is it? Do we need? Were we gonna do two?
There's
think
two of them.
so.
That's two of them.
And one
That's
of-
Oh, yeah,
That's
that's
the price for two,
that's what I am. Yeah, that's what I
350
to
to,
cut the materials. So that's 350 to cut. Yeah, on a CNC it runs it and cuts it out. And then
The
to
first
print, yeah. It's $20 a square foot, so that's what we
Do we know, what's the size again? I'm just trying to,
it's
picture?
96 by 26 or something like that.
I think so.
I can't.
cool.
I can't
I
remember.
mean, somebody can do the math if you want 96 inches by.
And it's the same, like, I guess we'll get like a full visual proposal.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did look at a visual previously.
I mean, that's what we talked about last time. We're like, if we can
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
it to $2,000 or under.
That's great.
So why don't we do that? And if they come back and they're like, no, actually it's 4, then we'll just stop. we won't do it.
Okay.
So,
Not to, because you said.
not to.
Four is still less than 8.
25, just as a buffer, in
Yeah.
case something comes up. Because that's really
I'm
cheap,
okay
compared
with
to
that.
8,000.
Yeah, 4,000 is still.
I'd like to make a
8,000.
motion that we have Parks move ahead with the purchase of the railroad station signage, and it's not to exceed $3,000. Hopefully, it costs a lot less.
Seconded.
Can you say that in a motion?
All in favor?
All in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, aye.
Aye.
All right.
Good deed language is
Seconded.
enormously useful.
It is great, isn't it? All right.
And Bill.
I did,
Okay, thanks,
or
Steve.
Bill did, whoever you want.
Okay. Come Up Conference Series. Steve and I sat down with Callie, and Steve had some great input there. I think it was mainly to come up with 4 people, and we kind of get a social media post on each person saying that these are their qualifications, this is who they are. So it's kind of servicing 2 things. We're using the social media finally. It's also putting out these people saying they're useful in the community, and then that there would be a date under their name that says the time that they're going to meet at Rocky Mountain Roastery or wherever, and it would be a discussion for the first one. So if Barry's one of the people, then he would say Barry Young, Fraser Valley Distilling, the 29th of December, he's talking, and that's not a affirmative date. But he's going to do a discussion group with these other people. And so we would come in and we would discuss all these, topics of how they kind of started their business, moved into the valley when they did, whatever these people want to discuss with them. So it's putting it out to the community that this is a discussion with local business owners such as ourselves and kind of how to become that.
If I could just add, part of the idea there is rather than trying to promote a in-person event, which is always hard for a lot of folks to make, to first build the brand, build the awareness by highlighting individuals in our community who have made a real, advancement of their career. And by virtue of the fact that all of them have friends and followers, leverage their social media so that doing that over 4 people builds the awareness, builds the interest in showing up for that deeper conversation.
That's right. So if we post a video of me and I'm obviously going to share it to my social media, then that's so many people at large. And then if we do, say, someone like Ellie Souls or, whoever, Abby, then there's 3 people, and that's between us. We have 25,000 people following us, and we're going to get it out there pretty quick. Also, what it's doing is I think we wanted to do a follow-up post, but right before that was a little 1-minute or 30-second video of them saying how they kind of made the switch with their mind to be a part of development in the community. So, what that could look like is I had said something like, Steve asked me the question. I said, well, there was a time where I was really upset about development when I was younger, and I hit a point where I was so angry with development that I decided I was not going to live here anymore, or I was going to kind of get my piece of the pie and add to the community and add a business that services the community here and just become part of the growth. And so that could be a 1-minute clip, and then it's out on the social media. It's with somebody sitting down, and then it,
Are you gonna-
leverages people to talk.
Are you going to keep the questions the same? What the redundancy look good?
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be that. It could be.
I mean, I think it could.
It could be. I think
know?
4 people are going to have 4 different answers to that.
Yeah.
Like, how did you become the part of the growth in the community? You're gonna be different than me.
Yeah. I mean, I like that same kind of question because you're like, oh, what are they going to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a picture states their name, and then the next post is a little video of them, and then it's a picture of the next person, video, so on and so forth. And then they're all meeting at this place at this time. Feel free to talk to them. And if
Yeah.
we get 30 people there, then we know we need to kind of make it more of a conference series and a talk and less of a discussion. And if we get 5 people with 4 different entrepreneurs, then that's more of a discussion and we're going to keep it that way.
Well, I
Wow.
mean, I just started that embodiment conversation series like myself for
Yeah.
me, like as a provider of coaching in the community. And I feel like it's 3 hours long and people come and people are kind of waiting to talk. Or some of them don't say anything at all.
Sure.
And that's my audience. So just think about that time. You might want to keep it at like 3 hours.
I think it could be less time than
You
that
think?
personally. Oh yeah. Yeah. I
Okay.
think that we could do hour and a half, 2 hours max discussion with 4 entrepreneurs. And if you get
Yeah.
30 people in a coffee shop or wherever we're doing this discussion, we're going to know right away that, okay, this has turned into more of testimonies with entrepreneurs and we need to move this to like the church in Fraser and
Yeah.
utilize that. And we need a stage and some microphones and stuff. If not, and it's more like 5, 6 people have come to talk to us, then they're getting some really great one-on-one time and we can keep it as a discussion and it's
Yeah.
really informal.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
it's
Maybe
really
it's
just to
one
test the
that's
waters.
Always girls.
Well, and I suspect if
Just
you're
for us.
doing coaching, there's also an element of a workshop involved in that,
No,
or
it-
at least thinking through problems.
Everyone just kind of takes a turn to speak and ask like just about where they're at. So I think if you have 5 or 6, which has been what I've usually had, 2, I mean, I think an hour would be really challenge. You'll see that you might go over an hour, but
That's
I
fine.
trust it.
Figured it.
That's
I
fine.
trust
If
you.
it's not in here, then that's
It's super
fine.
cool.
Yeah. And I think like it's going to be more of like a mentorship thing where people are asking you specific questions on how you built your business, or they're going to be asking specific questions on how I purchased a home and went
I
from
see.
not having money, like that sort of thing
Yeah.
for this person, like say the 9 to 5 worker that works, in the restaurant business. Yeah, they have a lot of questions on how they get out of low income housing or
Mhm.
which we were all there. So we have the answers for that, and we want to spread those to those people. We want to change the negative mindset of that you're stuck there forever because
So-
that is the problem.
What I would say is the speaker,
Yeah,
it has more of the control of the floor.
I'd say so. Yeah,
Okay.
I'd say so. And I mean, we're open to any questions, but I do have a list from what we had at the last meeting and what I brought of questions and topics, and that can be there.
That's awesome.
And it can kind of guide it. So if someone's like, it's really personal and it's kind of weird, you're like, yeah, that's not doing anything here,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, kind of think of it this way. There, to use a narrow example of Park's list, think about somebody who's gone from being a individual who moved here, worked at the resort, then worked in a restaurant, then became a chef, then decided they'd really like to get off of the wage earner thing and own their own place. How do we help them see that pathway, see some role models who have done that?
Yeah. Like
And
Amber's
then
Kitchen.
when they want to go deeper, that's when I think you go from the social media to a short conversation to a deep dive workshop that is, hey, on February the 29th, we're hosting a meeting for those people interested in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Or send them to
Want
Grip.
to understand how you find investors and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And that's the 4-hour session.
Yeah. Or send them to Grip and Patrick Brower and the other organizations that
I
are.
think this is they can be involved, but
Yeah.
like this is more specific.
Yeah.
So it's like say that if it's the restaurant, then you bring in, somebody like Cowboy with Hernando's, how he bought into a turnkey business, or you would have brought in somebody like Ryan who created 3 restaurants in a couple years,
Mhm.
from learning how to move money around, like that.
Yeah.
That's really helpful to somebody that's like, I really want to own a restaurant and I want to create a menu. And I can't tell you how many of my friends are like, oh, I'm going to start a restaurant one day. Well, they're still in the same place and it's not their fault. They just don't know how to move
Mhm.
past that. And they haven't networked and found the right people to coach them into the next steps. And that's what we're all here to do,
Mhm.
to grow the community at large. So, I guess we would have to make I don't know if we have to make a motion to just start with that on social media or pick 4 people. There's no budget involved. We're not spending any money on it. So that's the update.
Parks, right now, you and Steve are the subcommittee on this, right?
And
We are.
Kelly
And
staff
Callie,
member.
yeah.
Make it.
So maybe we could meet next, this, in the next few weeks or
January.
whatever.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, cool.
holidays are
Let's do
over.
that.
As long as I can plan it, I can always fit in another meeting.
All right, let's, yeah.
Last minute's the problem.
So let's do another meeting and then we'll get some people, unless someone, like, do you want to be part of the discussion? Do you want to be
Yeah.
in the first
Okay.
come up conference?
As long as it's scheduled out.
And then, yeah,
My husband's not on a snowcat.
yeah. Okay, and
Yeah.
I'll be one of the people. Does anybody else want to be on the entrepreneur list for
Do
the
you see,
first
like, do you have a good list of,
discussion?
like, people that you've talked to that are interested? It might be good to like match some. Like
Yeah.
if you found someone that's
Yeah.
like really gonna start something and have some more information, we might be able to figure out who would be the best to
Yeah.
have that discussion.
So
with
I
them.
think I thought of this.
You know,
We
you
could
get a
go.
couple good people that
Yeah.
are gonna ask questions and have some real stuff, and that might be easier.
Tim from Rudy's.
Yeah, just Tim from Rudy's is great. That's a great one.
Oh my
I
gosh,
think
yeah.
He's like complete ski bum. That's awesome. He still is. He just has more money now. I think it would be cool to have as many DDA board members on the first discussion as possible because we're showing what a DDA is made of too.
Yeah, Tiffany Eve.
It's really supporting the community from the DDA, and we're all entrepreneurs
Yeah.
pretty much. We're all
And
You know,
Tiffany's
like-
got her own business.
exactly.
She's fired
So
up.
we could do all 4 members off of the DDA for the first one,
Okay.
for the first discussion.
Go strong.
And then we could move out into the community and go,
That would be,
after.
Yeah, I like that idea.
yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah. You
So
know,
we know
go to
what we're to
Nanda
ask
with
too.
Pepe's and, Ryan
Some
and,
of the businesses be like, it was a success already and we're not putting anyone out
yeah.
kind of thing.
In the
like
unknown.
asking them to do something that's never been done before.
Le-
like, weird.
Leading
Nick-
by example. Yeah.
Ooh, Nick.
Nick's, what's up, Nick? Are you down? You're muted.
His hands up.
Yeah, they have to unmute him.
1 second, Nick. You got to hit unmute.
There we go. I wasn't able to, but I'm down. I think that'd be hugely impactful, especially because I did not come from money either at all. So, yeah, my story might help. So,
Okay, so Nick, I'll do it. Abby,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we just need one more.
I'm glad to
First-
participate. I'm afraid that Nick's such a better example than we are.
Yeah.
Because I waited till I was
Okay.
way older and had more financial resources to do it.
Same.
How about you?
That's
Tiff?
That's why I
that-
thought we're
Yeah, it's fine. I'll
we're
think of how to catch
we're
it.
chapter
The
3.
cost of doing what we
Yeah.
did.
Okay.
Now, how about Tiffany?
But Barry, one of the things that Parks and I talked
I'd
about
like
is
more the
several
better.
steps down the road. There
Yeah.
probably is a constituency
Sure.
that our pathway is an appropriate one, but let's save that for later.
Yeah,
Tiffany, did
like
you
it.
recently start your own consulting firm?
Been 9 years.
Would you
I
start?
did that, Mike. I did that also.
And so it's
Interesting.
a different business, a
2000.
different
Yeah.
kind of business,
Right.
so.
I
that's
left
cool.
a big
Right.
consulting
That's
firm and
four
started my own
different, aspects.
out of my house when no one did it then. So I'm
Cool.
like,
I wasn't even in a consulting firm. I
I-
did it all from scratch.
that's probably, you're probably a better example than me then.
But again, there's people coming to this valley from multiple pathways. So
Yeah.
there's going to be ones that resonate with that. There's gonna be ones that resonate with yours.
Yep.
But if you're gonna, excuse me, if you're gonna talk about starting a consulting firm, I participate in that. Although I had already been in one for 24 years
Mhm.
when I started mine.
So who wants to go first here? So we said 4. I guess we could do 5 at the discussion. I don't care. 4's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, four's a
Tiff?
good number.
Okay, we'll take you and then you'll
Yeah.
be on the next one.
Perfect.
All right. We're gonna need to set one.
Can we do a survey for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
I
kidding.
think
Yeah, don't set the date yet.
let's do that. I don't think we should set the date just quite yet,
I think
but
you guys have to all,
We know.
you can do a Google Calendar between the 4 of you and figure out.
yeah, let me- I think it should be anytime I've ever done an event, I've set it where you have 2 months for marketing, usually.
That's good.
And then you have time to get the posts out there. And by the time you get the posts out there, it's been a month, you know?
I like how opposite we are because I set up my conversation chats like
Yeah.
48 hours.
You're also just only going to your, like right off your social media there.
You're
So like,
up.
yeah,
I'm season.
yeah. But what I'm saying is like, if we want to get a little further out here and everybody needs to be coordinated.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
So you're
2
looking at
months.
February?
I think February is a great time.
Yeah, it sounds great.
So somewhere in February, maybe this is the second week, so first week of
And
February.
this is a great example of when we have the center, it's
Yeah.
at your disposal.
Yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
place to
Yeah,
to do
you
it
can
there.
do it KFFR, no?
Yep.
This one?
Except if Parks or Nick is talking, I think it should be at one of their places.
Yeah, this
Sure.
was, you
And
could go
moving
to
it
Richmond.
around also
Yeah.
benefits the business
But
community.
like next time, if the business owner doesn't have that type of
Yeah.
business, go somewhere
Yeah.
else. But
Yeah,
I think that's so huge. Be like, dude, look at what I have.
yeah.
And then yeah, so let's do sometime in the first week of February, and then let's talk and figure out a time that works for everybody, and then when our kind of target market is off of work. Is that in the evening? Because if it is, maybe we should do it at Nick's. If it's not, then maybe we should do it at my place mid-afternoon or morning. So,
Sounds great.
okay, cool. We have other business here, other updates. Town of Fraser Business Enhancement Grant applications.
So the business enhancement grants are available now. We do have a page on our website that you can go to under economic development. I can pull it up if you guys want. Otherwise, if you go in there, you just search it. There's a whole page dedicated so people can find additional information on those business enhancement grants. And the priority deadline is February 1st to apply for those grants.
So this needs to get out right away.
Yeah. And if people go to the website and apply, make sure that they apply for the business enhancement grant, not the economic development. They are two completely different items.
Enhancement.
What was the deadline again?
February 1st,
Thank
so
you.
priority deadlines, and then if there's money that remains after the February 1st deadline, then they will be accepted on a rolling basis until the money potentially runs out.
Okay.
And then the other update is I hope everybody received an invitation to the Fraser holiday party. That is this Thursday at the Foundry from 5 to.
Wonderful.
Be there.
Be there. Should we make a motion to adjourn for the first time ever early?
Early.
Early.
Progress.
Yeah.
So
Second.
moved
Okay.
and seconded.
So that was Tiffany.
All in favor? Aye.
Yeah.
Okay,
Steve.
cool.
Sure.
We'll give it Tiffany and Steve.
All right.
Give those to Tiffany.
Sweet.
and
Great
Steve.
meeting, guys.
Thank y'all. Happy holidays.
Yay.
Happy holidays, guys. Bye.
Bye, Nick.